All right, we've all been there, right? You've got dozens of tabs open, you're juggling multiple projects, and your computer's just slowing to a crawl. Well, today, we are going to tame that browser chaos. We're going to give you a clear guide to getting your digital workspace completely under control. You know, this quote just hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? For so many of us, our entire workday happens inside a browser window. Every single tab is a task, it's a client, it's a piece of some bigger project, it's everything.
And yeah, that's the problem. When your tabs are your workflow, things can get incredibly messy fast. As you take on more work, your browser goes from looking like a nice, organized desk to, well, a total disaster zone.
No, really, just stop and think about that for a second. Every time you have to hunt for that one specific Google Analytics tab, or you're logging out of one client account to log into another, that's a tiny bit of friction. But over a whole day, all that friction adds up to a huge loss of time and focus. So let's actually give this a name. We're calling it the tab chaos problem, because this is way more than just a small annoyance. It has real, hidden costs that are secretly just destroying your productivity. And here's the crazy part. It's how these costs all stack up. It's not just a few seconds you waste finding a tab. It's that you lose your mental momentum. You're pulled out of that deep work zone. Your computer is literally gasping for air trying to handle all that RAM usage. And then, of course, the ultimate nightmare. The browser crashes and takes everything with it. Okay, so we've laid out the problem. But the good news is, there are fixes. The most important thing to get, though, is that there isn't one best tool for everybody. The whole key is to find the right solution for your specific workflow. So let's dig into the 3 main paths you can go down. So really, pretty much every solution out there fits into one of these 3 buckets. You've got the tools that are already baked right into your browser. Then you've got these dedicated extensions that kind of act like a safety net. And finally, you have these really specialized browsers that are built for complex, account-based work. Path number 1 is the easiest entry point. These are the tools you probably already have. You just might not be using them. Things like Chrome tab groups or Safari tab groups. They are fantastic for just basic, simple organization. They're fast, they're free, and they're already perfectly integrated. Now, path 2 is for when you really need a safety net. We're talking about extensions like Session Buddy or Toby. Their main job is to save and bring back these huge collections of tabs. So if you're a researcher or just anyone who lives in fear of losing hours of work because of a random crash, this is your category. And path 3, this is for the power users. This is for when your real problem isn't just the sheer number of tabs, it's the number of accounts you're trying to juggle within them. The tools in this category are designed from the ground up to handle multiple logins to the same website, keeping everything completely separate and secure. All right, now for the really practical part. Let's start matching these tools to the actual problems you face every single day. We're getting out of the theory and into specific, actionable solutions. So let's start with a really big one, managing all those different client or project accounts. Now, for a basic fix, Firefox's multi-account containers do a pretty decent job of keeping your cookies separate. But for a truly advanced setup, a tool like Sendwin gives you completely isolated cloud tabs, which lets you run multiple logins side by side with 0 conflicts. And this is where that kind of isolation becomes a superpower. It's not just about convenience. This lets you do things like share a live session with a freelancer without ever giving them a password, or use different proxies on a tab-by-tab basis for testing. It's a whole other level of professional security and control.
But what if your problem is way simpler than that? You just need to group your projects. Well, for your own personal organization that syncs between your phone and your laptop, Chrome tab groups are perfect. But if you need to work with your team in real time on the same set of tabs, Microsoft Edge Workspaces are built exactly for that. It creates a live shared browser window for everyone.
Okay, let's talk about that fear, that stomach drop feeling when you might lose all your work. Session Buddy is the classic safety net. It just takes snapshots of your browser so you can restore everything. For a more visual approach, Toby lets you organize your research into these beautiful shareable boards, which is amazing for creating team knowledge bases. But you know, sometimes you're just so overwhelmed you don't need fancy organization, you just need a giant reset button. And for that, it really all comes down to a single number. 1. That's it. 1 click. With an extension like OneTab, you can take all that sprawling chaos, click one button, and collapse it all into a single clean list. It's the absolute fastest way to free up your computer's memory and give your own brain a fresh start. Okay, this is where it gets really fun. Because the true power here doesn't come from picking just one of these tools.
It comes from intelligently combining them to build your perfect, personalized productivity stack.
This table really makes the choices crystal clear. If multi-login and being able to securely share access is your main thing, a tool like Sendwin is built for that. If you need real-time collaboration with your team, Edge Workspaces is a super strong choice. And for just simple, lightweight grouping, you can't beat Chrome's built-in stuff. So let's actually build a stack. Imagine you run a marketing agency. You could use a multi-login browser like Sendwin as your main command center, right? A different workspace for every client. Inside each one, you'd have isolated tabs for their ads, their analytics, their website, and you could securely share a session with them. At the same time, you might still use Chrome tab groups just for your own internal company research. See? It's a powerful hybrid system. To make it even easier, here are a few starter packs you could try out. A solo consultant? You can probably get by with the simple and free combo of Chrome tab groups plus Session Buddy just for safety. But a whole agency team is going to get a ton of value from Sendwin for client work, Edge for collaborating internally, and Toby for research. You can totally tailor the stack to fit the job.
So look, if you remember just one thing from all of this, make it this right here. The entire decision boils down to matching the tool to your single biggest bottleneck. If your problem is just simple focus and grouping, stick with the built-in tools. If it's about saving research, get a session manager. But if your daily battle is juggling multiple accounts and secure collaboration, you need a specialized multi-login browser. It's that simple.
And I'll leave you with this last thought. Your browser, it's not just a window to the internet anymore. It runs your entire professional life. So the question is, are you in control of it, or is it in control of you? It's time to take charge.